Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Embroidery Insider Podcast. In this episode, we have special guests on the show, Alexander and Sarah Olivieri, who are owners of Woodpecker Plaques and Crafts located in Virginia. And we have them on the show to talk a little bit about their experience and share some of their insight. So hopefully you can learn from them and find success in your embroidery business. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Hi guys, how's everything going?
Hi, Harry. Everything good? How are yourself?
Good. Nice to see you guys. So I kind of gave a quick intro there, but for the audience's benefit, why don't you kind of go ahead and give a little bit of intro about yourself and what you guys do and what you think sets yourself apart from the embroidery businesses in your area.
All right. So my name is Alexander Olivieri. This is my wife, Sarah Olivieri. We've been in business for 4 years, but we didn't start with embroidery. We actually started with woodworking.
Okay.
And as business evolves and you're trying to make this as a form of income, you know, because I'm still active duty in the military, but I need to prepare myself for retirement.
Okay.
And I've recently joined an organization that they do a lot of embroidery. And they were getting overcharged, like ridiculously overcharged. So I was like, let me study. You know, I asked a couple of friends, and they all, told me the same thing. It's like, hey, we got Ricoma's machines. How about you go ahead and check them out? And here we are, a year and a half later.
Okay.
All these Ricoma machines. You can see one of them in the back. We got a total of 3.
Awesome. So how did you kind of transition from kind of woodworking and then finding the need for embroidery? Did people start coming up to you and ask, is that something you do? Or how did you kind of get introduced to this world?
Well, as like I mentioned before, me being in the military, I move a lot.
Okay.
About every 3 years, I got to move somewhere else, whatever the Army sends me. So that was the occasion. I moved from Virginia to Arizona, but I didn't have the space that I had here in Virginia to do my woodworking.
Okay.
I couldn't do any of my business. So it was either I invest in something to prosper my business, or I would lose my business. So after some nights of thinking, and our pillow and everything, discussing it between me and my wife.
Okay.
Decided to then invest on the embroidery machine, and so far, best decision ever.
Awesome. And I guess, as they say, the rest is history, right? So definitely good that you made that leap. Now for a lot of people in our audience, they kind of probably are in a similar boat in terms of going through that thinking process, right? Thinking through, is this going to be the right fit in terms of the business for me to do? So what are some kind of, if you can walk us through that thought process that you went through, and then how did you come to the conclusion that, hey, like, I want to do this and I want to do this at home?
Well, I don't think people want to follow my way, because I am an extremely random person.
Okay.
If I see an opportunity, I take it. You never know if you're going to succeed unless you take the leap of faith.
Okay.
And that's kind of my mentality. But I'm also a hard worker and an extremely fast learner. So as soon as I saw the within fraternities and sororities, which is my main clientele, they do embroidery. I was like, okay, that's one. I already got a market. Now, how I'm gonna advertise myself?
Okay.
Really, I'm a people person, and I talk your ear off all day about business.
Right.
Because your business is only gonna grow as fast as you advertise it. Nobody's gonna advertise it for yourself.
Right.
They become customers of yours, because then it becomes word of mouth, which is an extremely powerful tool.
Right. And yeah, we definitely talk about the power of leveraging your existing customers who are happy clients to spread the word about what you have to offer. But it's interesting that you mentioned about kind of the Greek organizations being a large part of how you started. So being a part of a Greek org, you kind of leverage the network around you and then kind of got in that way, right? I guess one of the questions that I have is, given that probably Greek organizations already, since every year year they have a new class, they have a new crossing, and they definitely have a need and demand for customized apparel. How did you kind of have get them or convince them to switch over to what you have to offer, and what was different than the vendors that they used before?
There's a lot of things that we offer that are different, that separates ourselves from
Okay.
them. Um, First of all, I want to say that when I go to these events, I usually don't take too much stuff. I only take a couple hats that I sell here and there, but what I do take is a lot of displays.
Okay.
Displays of current items, like I do for myself. That way they
Okay.
can see the quality. They can feel the texture of the material, because I know sometimes we want to spend, we're trying to save money here and there. We buy cheap thread,
Mm-hmm.
in one of those craft stores.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it end up costing you, because
Right.
sometimes you spend more time doing your job, or the client, might be a little bit knowledgeable, and they can see the difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So by giving it the opportunity to see the material that I use, to see the quality of the work, and just present it, and they can see what they currently have, and they're like, man, and another thing I told them is like I do everything within the organization's regulations, because as an
Okay.
organization they got rules on what type of font, what type of color combination, and everything.
Okay.
And I told them, I was like, this is the regulation. I have a printout of the regulation. This is what it says. This is what displays. You will never get fined by the organization because you are wearing the right apparel when you buy from me.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
And
Awesome.
obviously price, the price difference, there's different methods as we've discussed many times over Ricoma.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the dollar per thousand stitches, and
Right.
other methods.
Right.
But we try to keep it as fair as possible.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a business, you gotta make a profit.
Right.
If you don't make a profit, you're not a business. You're just a charity.
Right.
But be reasonable. Why is a way that you stay competitive, but you don't lose money. And
Okay.
once you find a happy medium, and people see that you're all about the customer, they don't care. Later on you might raise the price because the economy fluctuate,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll pay happily because they know that they're getting a good quality, a good customer service from you.
Right, right, and yeah, and customer service and repeat customers are really the kind of the lifeline of any business. So that definitely glad to hear that. Now you did mention kind of the one point about the cheaper threads, and I think that's a very good point. That I think a lot of embroiderers going in, they want to save a few dollars here and there on a cone of thread, and what they don't realize is they end up paying for it in terms of time, right?
Yes,
That they end up spending more time on thread breaks and things like that. That's slowing
correct.
you down. So, but you don't really see that cost because it's not like a hard cost that you're paying, in money. But it is time is money in this business. So they're actually paying for it in some other form that they might not realize.
Yeah, that's the difference between making 5 polos in one day or 20 polos in one day.
Right, exactly, and sometimes it can be that the quality of the thread and how frequently it breaks can definitely make a difference. And if you can make those runs much faster, then you're saving a lot of time for yourself to grow your business instead of focusing on just doing the embroidery. So that definitely time is money in this business. Now, um, a lot of customers that we see they do start off as like a husband and wife combo, kind of like what you guys have going on there. So talk a little bit about that and how you handle the kind of different responsibilities in running this business. What do you handle, what does Sarah handle, and maybe talk a little bit about that so our audience can get to know it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, I'm more of the face, since she even had her business. She was a baker, and she had to put her business on hold because the embroidery just took off.
Just took off. Yeah. Okay.
We shipping worldwide. Japan. We just got an order last week from Japan and Spain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
Awesome.
I am the face. I'm the one that constantly making live videos. That way people can see, us working. And from time to time, we got our quality control guy, which is my 4-year-old son. He likes jumping in there too.
Okay.
So I'm more of the sales representative, the one that's
Okay.
always portraying. She is my brains.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. I am a type of person that I don't sit still too much. So when it came for the training,
Uh-huh.
y'all give when you first buy the machine,
Yeah.
only lasted an hour.
Okay.
She did the whole training.
I see. Okay.
And after that, I was like days over her shoulder, just watching which button she pressed, how she
Okay.
did everything, and that's how I learned. I'm a hands-on type of person.
Gotcha.
She's my brains. She's the digitizer. You go ahead and talk. I've been
Oh
talking,
yeah.
but.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about I think that's a good segue into digitizing. A lot of embroiderers, I mean, even starting out, might not even know what digitizing is, let alone try to do digitizing on their own. So, do you guys do digitizing, and how do you go? How did you approach that choice when starting your business?
Well, as you already know, digitizing is key. If you've got a bad design, you're going to get a bad product, which wastes time, wastes money. Um, Now, some of the digitizing I do here myself, the
Okay.
simple stuff. For more complicated designs, really big designs, we send it out.
Okay.
I'm in the process of taking classes to learn how to do it myself.
Okay.
Um, but even when we send stuff out and we get it back, I kind of look at the design. I see how they did the pull compensation and the
Okay.
stitching, start and end. So it's a learning process for me, even with that.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said before, though, if you have a bad digitized file, you're just throwing money down the
You
drain.
can have $100,000 machine.
Yeah.
You got a $5 digitizing that is really crappy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That machine ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Right, exactly, exactly.
It's like,
Yeah, and that's what people sometimes don't realize is that the quality of the digitizing is just as important, if not more important, than the techniques, right? So we teach a lot of the technical things of how to operate the machine, learn the in and outs of the nuances of embroidery. But if you don't have the digitizing part, which is the other half, you're essentially missing half of the overall picture, and
it's
that's going to cause issues. So I'm glad to hear that you're kind of taking it slow and doing some of the simple things first, and then at the same time, when some of the more complicated things are coming back, looking to see what they're doing and kind of learning those in and outs of digitizing on your own, so that potentially in the future that can be another part of the business, right? And I'm sure that you have plans for that to kind of digitize in house and therefore offer another value add to your customers.
Yes.
exactly, because it saves on the money because by outsourcing, obviously you gotta pay for it, and
Right.
then at the same time, that could be like you say, that could be a product that we can offer for other embroiderers.
Right, right, exactly, exactly. So, in terms of, I want to kind of go back to the Greek orgs. Besides the Greek organization that you were a part of, and obviously that's kind of the first point of contact and the first entry point for you. It definitely helps to be a part of that network. Do you have any plans in the future to kind of, or have you done so already, where you go to some of these shows and other Greek organizations are starting to see what you do and have approached you?
We do. Right now, we are actually official vendors of 6 different organizations.
Oh wow, okay.
The first two, it was the ones that I applied, trying to get my name out there.
Okay.
The remaining of them that actually, contact me because they saw the quality of product I was providing with the price,
Hmm.
and what was the type of quality that other vendors were providing with their outrageous prices. They're
Yeah.
like, we want you to become our main vendor, not just a vendor, the main vendor where the national leadership will order all their paraphernalia from me.
Oh wow. Okay. And I would assume that that is not just one chapter. You're talking about like an entire nation's or even like worldwide, right?
Exactly. Like just my fraternity alone, the one I belong to, we
Hmm.
have chapters in Spain, Tokyo, Germany.
Okay.
So I am the one in charge of international sales.
Okay.
But then other sororities and other fraternities, they see my quality and they're like, hey, this is what we got. What can you do? What is your prices? As soon as I put it on the table, giving, hey, this is what in my quote, they're like, okay, can you be our vendor? And I was like, sure, and some of them, I got to the point where they offered me a 1 year free fee to become a vendor, just
Okay.
just so I could become their vendor.
I see. And how does that application process? So I assume with these organizations, you do need to apply and they go through like a vetting process and are there any licensing involved with the logo itself?
Yes. So obviously, every time when you're dealing with organizations, either like in my case, they're military fraternities and sororities, but it's the same goes for college level fraternities and sororities.
Right.
Every time you're dealing with the logo and the Greek letters, those are copyrighted. So you
Mm-hmm.
a vendor, you need a licensee from the actual fraternity.
Mm.
It can vary depending on the size of the organization. It can go from $350, $250, $250, all the way to like $3,500, $5,000 a year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Depends on the size of the organization. You're talking about these fraternities that have been since the 1800s.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna pay a hefty price, but
Right.
once you pay the price, barely within a month, depending on how your sales skills are, within a month you already recovered that money and made, profit.
Exactly. 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 Yeah, and actually a lot of people ask or they don't know the in and outs of how to approach licensing because sometimes with these with colleges and different orgs they do require the licensing fee but
Yes,
but it's like what you said once you get that it's like your foot in the door, right? And you are the like the preferred vendor for them to contract for all these apparel needs, and therefore that license fee it's an investment that you're making, but
exactly.
that pays several times over in the long run.
And another thing I like to do just to attract, um, clients
Hmm.
is I probably see an organization that I'm not a vendor yet. So obviously I cannot, sell their products, but I will still make a product with their Greek letters or something like that and
Hmm.
send it to one of the leadership, as a gift or
Okay.
something, just to
That's
plant a
smart.
seed.
That's
And
smart.
that they're like, oh, hey, we never seen this type of product before, and then they start, talking to you and like, hey, what we can do, and it turns into a negotiation.
Nice, nice, and that's a very smart tactic, and giving value beforehand and giving a free sample of something with their Greek letters on it, so that they can see it's like, oh, this is the type of service that you can provide, and actually see their logo on a piece of apparel, and then kind of
So,
get the wheels turning on what can possibly be done with your services. So
and then
that's
and,
definitely
and we don't just do fraternity and sorority apparel. We also do motorcycle clubs. We do a lot of stuff for the military personnel. I as well. Like
okay.
they want hats. For the organizations and stuff like that. We don't just focus solely on the Greek letter apparel.
Okay.
We did started with that,
Okay.
but we do everything. If somebody wants a towel, to decorate the bathroom, we do it.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
don't discriminate.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, talk about the different variety of products that you guys do, and I think maybe Sarah can talk about this. That I assume that you operate the equipment on a regular basis in doing all of these things. How did you kind of pick up the different techniques for all these different types of apparel, like towels, jackets, and patches? If you guys do those as well, how did you kind of learn the technical aspect of all of those different I guess different apparel to decorate on?
Well, it came from everything from the manual that came with the machine,
Okay.
videos on YouTube,
Okay.
and on the Ricoma Facebook page, just asking people, this is what I'm doing, what's your suggestion? And
Hmm.
again, or a lot of it also is just, you try one, you see what went well, what went wrong, and then you
Okay.
try again,
Okay.
always on something that you don't mind messing up. Um, I mean, a lot of it's learn as you go. I mean, it's
Okay.
the only way to do it.
Patience.
Pay a lot of patience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the kind of learning curve and the mastering the craft is, not everyone has that patience to put in the time and the effort, but it is something that I think with time and effort it is definitely able to be learned. It just takes that patience and takes that time, but I think once you get into the groove of it, I'm sure now you can operate the machine blind and with your eyes closed, and everything works.
Pretty much, like, so if, for example, the machine stops, and I look at two places. I either look at the material or I
Hmm.
look at the needle. If
Hmm.
I see some white showing, that means I ran out of bobbing, and
Hmm.
immediately,
Right.
replace the bobbing. If I don't see no thread touching the material, that means I got a thread break.
Right. Right. So
It
it's
becomes
these things you just
thing.
pick up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
And I also, it also depends on the people that you surround yourself with. If you can, like say for example, you have somebody in the local vicinity the does exact same type of job that you do, like embroidery and stuff like that.
Okay.
You can pick their brain. I was lucky enough that I ran into these embroidery shop,
Okay.
thinking they was a supply store, and I go, and it was literally, I received your machine, and within like 2 days, I was like, let me see if I can find like a local supply store. And I
Okay.
was like, okay, I saw these embroidery shop. I was like, let's see if they sell backing and stuff like that.
Okay.
So here I am, because I didn't want to wait for Gunol to send me I want it now. I want
Yeah. Yeah.
running like everybody. Everybody that I see in Ricoma, they're like, hey, my training is 2 weeks from now, but I want to use it now. So, that was me. I want to use it
It's a
now.
brain
Right. Right. Yeah.
thing. Play with it.
So, and when I went in there, I was like, this is not a supply store. But I started talking with the owner, and ended up being that he was a retired military as well. He was a Vietnam
Oh,
era,
okay. Okay.
and he pretty much took me under his wing. Even though his machines weren't Ricoma,
Mm.
but a lot of stuff transferred regardless of what type of machine you have.
Yes.
Like how to thread, how to hoop, stuff like that is universal, regardless of what type of machine, unless you're talking about the regular hoops between mighty hoops, and
Yeah.
then it changes a little bit. But all the basic stuff, tricks, to do every time you put a new garment into the machine and stuff like that. I learned it from that man, and that's what today we still talk all the time. We call each other in a personal basis just to see how the family
Nice.
and everything.
Nice, awesome, awesome. And I think that's one of the kind of different things about this industry is that the community of people, right? As you can see, even whether it's online or offline, the community of people in this industry really sets us apart from other businesses because people are willing to help one another and provide the tips and tricks and to kind of help. They want to help instead of kind of always thinking about being my competition, right? They're thinking it more as like, hey, this is a community and there's more than enough to go around for everyone, and they generally have the best interest of the other people at heart, right? So they're
Exactly.
willing to share their experience to kind of help you along as you get started. So
Yeah.
that's a very good story that showcases that point.
And like for example, when I went to ISS show, I had the opportunity to meet Linda, Laura, and all your amazing team.
Right.
And man, that lady Linda, she blew my mind. I didn't know such thing as fabric solve existed. And,
Right.
and that was a game changer. After as soon as she showed me that, I was like, this is the perfect material to make patches,
Right.
and it has proven right. And just recently, as last week, I found out there's somebody who is a Ricoma owner that
Mhm.
lives about like 30 minutes from my house, and
Oh,
so
wow.
they messaged me like, hey, if there's a way, we can meet up because I want to pick your brain. I was like, sure,
Exactly.
I give him my address, like you come over, we run the machines, and I can give you tips here and there. At the end of the day, there's plenty, like the say says, there's plenty of fish in the water. There's no reason to be hugging it all. Just
Exactly.
knowledge.
Exactly. And that's what I find so special about this industry, right? That it's the community of people that are willing to actually help, right? As we kind of wrap things up, what plans do you have for your business going forward? I know that maybe talk about some of the models of machines that you have now, and what are your plans to expand in the future? Are you planning to kind of move into like a retail space? I know that you guys are working out of the home for now. What are your plans?
All right, so that's a good question. So as you can see, these right here is our shop. These are our guest room.
Okay.
Really tiny guest room, and we currently have 3 MT 1501s.
Okay.
The machines, the reason why I've selected this machine is the type of work I do.
Okay.
If you're into productions, producing the same item over and over and over, then yes, a multi-head is appropriate for that type of setting. Unfortunately, in my environment, we are custom. So we do a lot of custom. So we only do one project for one specific person. So having multi-head is overkill.
Right.
So we currently have 3 MTs. Unfortunately, we don't have room in this room to put any other machines. So initially, I was thinking about opening an actual store, retail store where if people could come in, drive by like, oh, look, an embroidery shop. But I have a good friend of mine who owns a couple business, and he put some sense on me.
Okay.
And he's like, you don't need a store right now. Right now, you're operating out of your small guest room, and you have a huge unused garage.
Yeah.
30 garage is all you gotta do is insulate it, drywall it, put AC, and move your machines. Because then you can buy some more machines, put in there, and once you outgrow the garage, then maybe you can expand into a retail store. But at the same time, 90% of my sales are online. So in reality, I don't have a need for people.
Right. Like the foot traffic to come in. You don't really need that.
And the way he put it is like when you actually open a retail store, you're adding overhead, which now you have extra either mortgage or rental, whichever the case might be.
Right.
You are forced to have that store open during the times that you have posted. So you have to be there, or you have to now hire somebody. Now you hire, now you got insurance that you got to pay for, extra electricity, so you got all those extra that you have to then start worrying about, which then if you were doing the like a low balling on your price, now you won't be able to do it. Now you have to raise your prices because now you're paying extra on overhead and stuff like that.
You have that fixed cost that you have to pay that rent or mortgage every single month. That's a very good point. And if you kind of I guess people to look around at what they have, make sure to maximize the most of what they have currently, and then take it one step at a time to see when is the right time. As with anything in business, when is that right time to take that next step and expand further. So I'm glad that you're taking that micro step now to build out the garage, and then I'm assuming looking to finish that soon, and then get some more machines in, and then expand the business that way.
Hopefully in the next week or two, we'll be finishing the garage.
Oh, awesome.
And hopefully by the summer, we'll be adding at least 2 more MTs to our collection.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Definitely a success story, and so glad that to see that you guys have started out with just one single head and have grown now to 3, with the potential to even expand to 2 more in the very near future. So very interesting to hear the story of kind of how you got started, and hopefully our audience has gotten a lot of insight from your story, and hopefully the wheels are turning and they're thinking of they're getting inspired by what they can potentially do in their business as well. So definitely good to see you guys again, and we will definitely catch up real soon. Okay.
Likewise. If anybody have any questions, feel free to contact us. We love to help. We always in the Ricoma page, which is an extremely helpful site for everybody.
Awesome.
Just contact us, and we're willing to spend some time explaining our way of thinking and planning.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. Great. Thank you guys so much for joining. All right.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite. It was an honor, Henry.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
So I hope you guys found that content helpful. If you want to interact with myself or other members of the embroidery community, such as Sarah and Alexander, make sure to join our free Facebook group, Embroidery and Custom Apparel Mastery, where you'll join thousands of embroiderers and other custom apparel decorators sharing tips, advice, and tricks to scale and grow your business. As always, any questions, let me know, and I hope to see you guys next time.